Rose, Madhav, and who else are there? I can't read their names. Yes, Bulu has joined just. Today I have got a text which has been prescribed to you. Usually, what I do is that I take help of that app, IGNU app. But by chance, our study center managed to arrange a text uh, like hard copy for me today. So, how are you all? Hmm? Shubhasri, how are you? It's chilly. Okay. Should we start? Am I audible or not?
Audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Uh, Today we have the paper knowledge and education. Knowledge and education. Interesting. The two terms uh, are interesting, in fact. But let's start with difference, like understanding the terms by differentiating both terms, like knowledge and education. Don't you think uh, those can be synonym? What is knowledge is what is that is education. What is education uh, is that can be knowledge, isn't it? So then why aren't we bringing these two terms in a same platform? So let me clear that I'm asking you uh, as layman, right? How do you like perceive two different terms? Whether you perceive it differently or both are like same, both carry same meaning. If you could give me sort of uh, like your view about it, then we'll then after we'll move forward. Yes, knowledge and education. Anyone, please. Yes.
Sir,
Hello.
Yes,
uh,
yes,
Knowledge,
Gitanjali.
sir, at first, knowledge means it is some information we take out through education. I mean, ମାନେ ଆମେ କିଛି ଜ୍ଞାନ ଯୋଉଟା କି ଆମେ ଆହରଣ କରୁଛେ ଶିକ୍ଷା ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ତ ସେଇଟାକୁ ଆମେ ନଲେଜ କହୁଛେ ତ କିଛି ଇନଫର୍ମେସନ ହଉ କିମ୍ବା କିଛି ଅଣ୍ଡରଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଡିଂ ହଉ ଯୋଉଟାକୁ ଆମେ ଶିକ୍ଷା ମାଧ୍ୟମରେ ଗ୍ରହଣ କରୁଛେ ସେଇଟାକୁ ଆମେ ନଲେଜ କହିବା।
अच्छा शिक्षाटा है माध्यम नहीं
ଆଜ୍ଞା ଆଜ୍ଞା
शिक्षा itself is not knowledge you mean
Hello,
No.
sir. Hello,
हाँ सुनो सुनो
sir. Myself Subhasri.
Shubhasri, yes, tell Shubhasri.
Sir, I think knowledge means knowing about something, some information. But education means education is a change of behavior in a desirable way.
Okay, it is what?
Changes of behavior.
Okay, changing in behavior.
Sir,
That is education. Yes,
yes, sir, good evening.
Hello,
yes.
sir.
Ah,
Sir,
yes.
knowledge means information or ideas that come out from study, research, or observation, etc. And these ideas are justifiable and also truth. This is knowledge.
And what is education?
Education is the modification of behavior in a desirable way.
Okay.
Education,
For
yes.
example, for example.
Example, sir, when a man acts for knowledge, the sun rises in the east is knowledge, and
Hmm.
education helps in gaining knowledge.
Okay.
Hello, hello,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, my thinking, sir. Knowledge is a own talent, and education is a process. ପ୍ରକ୍ରିୟା
Okay.
ଗୋଟେ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଆଉ ଏଜୁକେସନ ମୋଡିଫିକେସନ ବିହେଭିୟର ଏଇଟା ତ ସମସ୍ତେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଆଜ୍ଞା ବହିରେ ବି ଆମେ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଏସନ ବେଳକୁ କହୁଥିଲେ ମ୍ୟାଡମ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟିଂ କରିବେ ବୋଲେ କହିବେ ହ୍ୱାଟ ଇଜ ଏଜୁକେସନ ଏଜୁକେସନ ମିନ୍ସ ବିହେଭିୟର ଅଫ ମୋଡିଫିକେସନ ଅଫ ବିହେଭିୟର
Sure. What is that behavior? What is that modification of behavior? Right. Okay. Yes. Anything else in your mind going on?
Sir,
Yes, madam.
sir, without offending others, I'm just trying to say knowledge is not information. Information is something that is raw in nature, but knowledge is something is verified, and knowledge get verified through the process of getting education. So education is a process where we gain knowledge, but information, everywhere we get information, but every information is not knowledge. So my view is information is not quite mere to knowledge. Knowledge is something which is verified, which is processed in our brain.
Right. Okay. Yes. Anyone else? Interesting. Whatever you are telling is like that is something interesting, and that will be adding us to understand or clarify both of the terms. Yes, Madam Dharitri. Dutika, Madam Dutika, can you hear us? You switch on your like loud speaker. Ah.
Sir, now?
Yes, yes, audible. You are audible.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, knowledge is the bridge of wisdom that can be enlarged to behavior to from each other. That is my view.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Different views are coming. In fact, like knowledge is someone is labeling knowledge as information. Someone is telling no, that is information is what that is raw material or that is raw. Yes.
Total ଉପରେ sir କହିବାକୁ ଗଲେ to know something knowledge କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଜାଣିବା ହିଁ knowledge ଆଉ
अच्छा किसी गोटे जिनसे जानिबा
ନାଇଁ କି
किसी गोटे
ନୂଆ ଜିନିଷ ଜାଣିବା ହିଁ knowledge
एकदम ठीक कथाटा कहले कोन जेमते गोटे उदाहरण देबे
जहाँ भी किसी आम नुआ जानिबा सेटा नॉलेज
अच्छा
उदाहरण सब किसी जिनसर उदाहरण देयो
आज्ञा जोड़ा नुआ जानिले भी सेटा तो नुआ शिखि पारले ना सेटा भी एजुकेशन भी गोटे हेई गोटे शिक्षा जिंस
राइट
that
okay
can be sir, that can be developed in any state in any state or any area that is to analyze behavior to each person to others.
okay let me try to clarify the matters knowledge and education, right? I do agree in your views, in your understanding of the fact, the terms that carries that fact, knowledge and education. Knowledge is something we that's an experience. Knowledge is an otherwise that is an experience that is a verified truth. That is an experience of truth. Knowledge is an experience of truth otherwise. Right? So experience of truth comes in different ways. Mind my language. Knowledge is an experience truth or verified truth sometimes, and that comes in different forms, in different ways. Right? For example, how it is experienced truth or verified truth. Like, let's take example of the current situation. A virus called Corona, COVID-19. It has become a knowledge for all of us today, because earlier we had a kind of experience that up to COVID-18 we had knowledge, although it is not common to all of us, but then we know, or people from us, many of us know about, or they had knowledge about COVID-18. So today we have added to the like in knowing something. It is called COVID-19. Now we can understand it. We can experience it. We are able to verify it. How we are experiencing it. No, this is something unique. There is something unique.
Yes.
This is taking lives of people in a very
Yes.
like dangerous manner, in a very it has taken a very widened shape, and that is why it is given as like name. It is called as pandemic today. So that we know it is not a common virus, something that was in our nature, but then recently we have experienced it. That the characteristics of this virus is or are like, okay, it goes through or it enters through mouth, nose, eyes, right? And then it is primarily affecting what our like respiratory system. So that is what we are witnessing. That is what we are experiencing. Okay, doctors or the scientists were telling, but now we are witnessing around us. Your fellow being gets affected by that virus, and then you see what has happened to that person. Also, you are like you are conforming with the situation through different medias like press media or electronics medias, and you are in a way you are like enriching your experience, or you are like knowing or trying to understand in a better way to this virus. So this is what we are experiencing, the virus. This is what the virus, and these are the characteristics of virus. So this what we have experienced. This is what our knowledge about COVID-19. COVID-19 behaves like this in human body. This we have experienced. So knowledge is therefore is what is something which we experience, and we establish through experience, through experimentation, right? So as I told you, that experience we had can be from different sources.
Yes.
We come to know about virus through press media, through electronic media, now from our
Yes.
we are knowing better, we are understanding about the virus better. ଆମେ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଲେଖା ପଢିଲା ଏହା ବିଷୟରେ, ତାପରେ ଜାଣିଲା ଓକେ there is a virus called COVID-19. ତାପରେ ଆମେ ତାକୁ ଦେଖିଲା, ତାର ଲୋକେ ଭିଡିଓ ପଠେଇଲେ କି ନା ଏଇ ଭାଇରସଟା ହେଲେ ଏମିତି ହଉଛି, ସେଟା ବି ଆମେ ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସ. We are like, first of all, we read the content. So reading the content is what you are experiencing. Then when you visualize a video, that is also you are experiencing. And now you are directly experiencing how people are suffering from that disease, that virus. So that is what you have a direct experience with that.
Yes.
Earlier you had indirect experience that you come to know through like text content or through video. Now you can see like people getting affected in front of you, or you might have experienced by yourself and have got recovered, right? So this is what the experience, or like a verified truth, is called knowledge. Experiential knowledge and that verified truth or verified fact is what we call knowledge. Whatever is verified, whatever is experienced, experience is what you are knowing. That's a process. And then you establish, through experience you establish the knowledge, right? And it is there earlier, but all kind of experience may not conclude the true result, may not conclude, may not take to you knowledge, right? Like experience, like if like someone is like showing a kind of behavior of breathlessness, okay, and you suddenly you come to a conclusion, like because of the coronavirus, the person, because of the attack of the coronavirus, the person is feeling breathlessness. That is your first experience, first assumption, and that assumption you are guided by that assumption. Yes, because of the attack of coronavirus, the person is feeling breathlessness, right? But you may be wrong. Your experience of like looking at the person who is feeling breathlessness. Okay, you are like looking at the person feeling who is feeling breathlessness is all right. That is your experience. But your conclusion that because of the attack of COVID-19, the person is feeling breathlessness may be wrong. So all the times our experience may not be may not give us a correct conclusion, may not take us to the truth, right? So that is what we call uh, false knowledge, or like errorful knowledge or erroneous knowledge, right? But that is true that we we get knowledge through experience, and experience can be can be of visualize in nature. आमे जोटा देखुछु सेटा गोटे प्रकार एक्सपीरियंस, आमे चाखुछु टेस्ट करछु सेटा गोटे एक्सपीरियंस हे पारे, आमे सुंगी की जानि परछु सेटा गोटे एक्सपीरियंस हे पारे, आमे टच कर जानुछु सेटा गोटे एक्सपीरियंस हे पारे. हमर जो इंद्रिय कहउछु आमे फाइव like five, what do you call that, five sense or five senses, like these are the gateways of knowledge. Actually these are the gateways of knowledge. Okay, now you touch something and you come to know that is hard or like soft or like polished or harsh, you come to know, and you establish fact whether that object is soft or like polished or hard or like burning. So you come to know from that. So that is also knowledge, right? Likewise, when you testing like through your tongue, mouth, you can also take the knowledge, like how like what is the taste of sugar cane, bitter or sweet. That is your knowledge.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, knowledge is always true or not?
Knowledge is always truth, or it is supposed to be truth. It is supposed to be truth, but yes.
You have said that it is verified. So after verification, we say something that will say true, that may be true.
But yes, that is what we tell something knowledge when it is verified. In
Then after verification, it should be true.
Sorry.
Sir, after verification of something, we verify something when we know completely about it. Then we come to know completely about it. So knowledge is always true or not?
See, knowledge is supposed to be true, but always not, right? Because there is a possibility of falsification of the knowledge. Suppose, for example, I'm citing an example. Like sometimes back, we claimed that we had discovered 9 planets. 9 planets. What do you call that? Buddha, Shukra, Shani, likewise 9 planets up to Pluto. But in recent time, it was found that there was no such a planet called Pluto as such. Our space science proved that there is no. But that time we had a kind of experience that okay, we were convinced with the fact that we had 9 planets around the sun.
So that time we consider, so that
Now,
time we considered that we had 9 planets.
yeah, but
But it has been deducted from the planets as it was a dark planet. So before that it was a verification, and now it is also a verification, dark planet.
yes, yes. So that is why the knowledge is supposed to be true. I mean, at a particular point of time, we take it as truth, but at the next moment, it might be wrong, right? So at a given point of time, it is true. It is always truth. It appears from the verification that appears it is true, or it is truth. It is the truth, right? So ultimately, knowledge is something which is an established truth, which is an
So,
established fact.
so
Yes,
hello.
yes, yes.
So knowledge is something what we gain everywhere, every time, whatever the situation condition may be. So all the things can be verified.
No, I didn't get you. Your voice is not coming clearly. If you can repeat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So knowledge comes under education, or education comes under knowledge.
Okay. Okay. Yes. That's a very
So,
like really-
because what we gain may or may not be true. So education comes under knowledge, or knowledge comes under education.
see, education as your friends, some of your friends uh, viewed that education is a process only. Education is a process through which we we acquire knowledge, we generate knowledge, and we like transmit knowledge. We promote knowledge. So education is a process only. It's a process of like generating new knowledge, or like transmitting knowledge, transmitting existing knowledge among people. So that
Education,
education is a
that
process only.
only process.
Yes.
So what we learn from education, that is not knowledge.
See, that is at a given point of time. That is that can be a product, and that can be a process. As it is told, education is both process as well as product. So now, if you take a knowledge something in the form of education, that can be product, right?
Okay.
And that can be also process. Suppose how it is a process. Now, take for instance the like education of like this number system, or like knowledge about number system. Say for example 1 2 3 4, right? Then based on that, we have what we have. We have It has many operational functions. What the number system has like numbers of
But, but
like multiple like operational functions, isn't it? So like during your early education time, like say for instance primary education, you started with the knowing, or like familiaring yourself with the 1 2 3 4 likewise, right?
counting, then addition,
So
multiplication,
yes,
subtraction,
so that is what it was introduced with to you as what, as a
number.
as a product, as a knowledge, right? As knowledge, a kind of knowledge. We introduce you. We tell a child, this is what we call one, this is what we call two, this is what we call three, right? And that becomes a base. So that itself is what, now taking that base, we apply in different situations, like as you told, addition, multiplication, or addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and so on. Right? So at a given point of time, it was a product, it was knowledge. But gradually you start processing with that product, and you get more, you get to know many things. Right? So in that sense, education is itself is what it is. It is a process as well as a product, and when it becomes a product, it is what? Knowledge. When you treat education as a product, that is actually knowledge, right? But then education is also a process, so that is why education is treated as both product as well as process, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So a point was that, like Madhava or someone else, like in the very beginning, they told that knowledge and education, right? And your like title of the text also say knowledge and education, right? So we should not confuse that knowledge, whether knowledge comes under education or education comes under knowledge, right? That they both have different actually context, but sometimes supplementary. They supplement to each other, right? So knowledge can be education, and education can be knowledge, and education
Knowledge.
can be process as well. And when education is processed, that is a process, and when education is treated as product, that is knowledge itself, right? So precisely, knowledge is a verified truth at a given point of time. That is, and again, in simpler terms, that is an established fact,
Sometimes,
at a given point of time, right? And education is also is a fact, is an established fact at a given point of time, but that can be also processed in like acquiring knowledge, or in establishing more and more knowledge, or in generating knowledge, and in transmitting knowledge. So that becomes a mediums itself. Education becomes a carrier. Education becomes a mediums for what? Both generation of knowledge as well as our transmission of knowledge. Right? Okay. So I would like to take you ahead further. You'd be like consulting the text, then you'll be able to know there we have definitions and meaning and scope of knowledge. Definition, like as you put that, definition can be, knowledge can be defined as verified truth, can be defined as verified or established fact through a rigorous experimentation, or through rigorous experiment, or through a kind of constant experience of the situation, right? That is what we call knowledge. Then we have types of knowledge, where types, in the name of types of knowledge, we have different types of knowledge. Categorically, we have here 6 types of knowledge, like explicit knowledge, tacit knowledge, received knowledge, subjective knowledge, procedural knowledge, constructed knowledge. So you'd be able to understand it once you go through the text, but then I would like to just precisely keep explicit knowledge. in the there are as many as 6 types of knowledge we have, that we acquire in different ways, right? Like explicit knowledge. The term explicit means clear knowledge, knowledge which is easily understandable, knowledge which can be easily communicated to others, it can be transmitted to others. So knowledge which is easily understandable, easily like visible, which can be easily experienced, is what? Explicit knowledge. Explicit, which is clear. There is no problem. There is no blood in it. There is no like doubt in it. Right? That is explicit knowledge. Then we have tacit knowledge. TACIT, tacit knowledge, which that kind of knowledge. So no, let me give an example of explicit knowledge first. Then that what we call explicit knowledge, which is easily understandable, easily communicable, easily that can be communicated, is what we call that is explicit knowledge, right? For example, which can be called as like explicit knowledge, which is easily understandable, easily communicated to others. For example, let me give an example, like there is in a complex term. Suppose there is a when there is a cloud, when there is a dense cloud, then we have a kind of experience that, or we have a kind of knowledge that dense cloud brings rains. So that is understandable. That, say for example, cloud nimbus that brings heavy rain. That is easily communicable. जेतेबेले गोटे मेघ अछि, गोटे कोन तमे आमे कहूछु, जेतेबेले बहुत मेघ अछि, मेघ साधारणतः वर्षा आने, सेटा कोन आमे बुझी पारु, ओके जब सेठी मेघ थिबो ताले वर्षा आनिबो, मेघ वर्षा, that is the truth. That is the truth, and that is easily communicable, right? In more simpler terms, explicit knowledge, maybe for example, like for example, this can be procedural. We say composition of water. In science, composition of water. How do we composite water? What is the composition of water? Like 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. So in science, it is communicated that yes, 2 oxygen and 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen forms water, right? So that is communicated to you, and you can go for experimentation, no problem. And you see the fact, yes, it is there, water is there. So there is no doubt about it. That is easily communicable, right? And then tacit knowledge, the other types of knowledge, which is it's called as a complex form of knowledge, which is very much very much private, very much individualistic. That form of knowledge is known to that person sometimes, which is not communicable or which cannot be communicated so easily. Right? That is tacit knowledge. That which is more of that actually puts in intuition, like in more abstract sense. But then that is knowledge. That is knowledge. Especially that is kind of knowledge, Jyotir Vigyan, what we tell, Jyotish. Right? They can sometimes, or for example, in your family members, you are such a member that you have got a sixth sense, not five, six. You have got sixth sense, and by virtue of that sixth sense, you can see the near future, what is going to happen to you, what is going to happen with your family, what is going to happen with the others, I mean fellow beings around you. But you cannot exactly communicate that. You cannot communicate with others that why it is going to happen tomorrow or day after tomorrow or in your future. You cannot easily convince others, although you can say that what is going to happen tomorrow, right? You cannot clearly convince that others. You cannot easily convince others that how it is going to happen tomorrow or in near future. That you only know. So that is what in other terms we call intuition. Intuition, a kind of feeling, hunch. But there is a very high possibility. That is a higher possibility that becomes a truth. That becomes truth in what actually you are feeling. What was your intuition turns to be true in future. So that kind of knowledge is what we call tacit knowledge. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, I'm hearing.
Sir, say again about intuition. I
Yes.
can't understand intuition.
Sorry?
Sir, about intuition, tell again. I can't understand.
Intuition. What is intuition?
Yes, sir.
Intuition is what? Tacit knowledge. Suppose I am intuiting that tomorrow I'll be meeting so many friends. I'll be getting appreciation from my friend circles all of a sudden, because I must have done something. And that I only know. I have put some efforts, and that I only know, and because of that I'm going to get some credit, going to get some kind of appreciation, kind of recognitions from my friends, my fellow beings around me. So that is a kind of that you only understand. Other cannot be convinced with that. That if you tell today that you are going to get appreciation or you are going to get a kind of success or breakthrough tomorrow, that you only know, right? So that is a kind of intuition you are having, a kind of feeling you are having, and that you only convince yourself with that kind of feeling. And that cannot be understood by others so easily, right? That is what that can be a kind of that intuitive knowledge, or like tacit kind of knowledge, right? Another example can be suppose uh, because of the prevailing circumstances. Take for example this COVID-19, I mean this infection of COVID-19. You feel that that after a week we are going to face a complete lockdown for like a month, because the situation would be unmanageable. It's going to be an unmanageable affairs, and that is why we are likely to face a long lockdown after a week. So you make a calculation of the prevailing situations, and based on that you draw a conclusion, and it cannot be drawn by all of us, but that can be done by you only. So that can be 5% people can do that, not 95. So that, like the feeling of 5% people that we are going to face again a long lockdown because of the prevailing conditions or circumstances is not so common. It's not easily understandable by others, but by only 5%, not by rest of 95%. Right. So that is what we call tacit knowledge, and which actually becomes truth, which actually turns to be true. Right. So that is what we call intuition or tacit knowledge. Then we have received knowledge. Received knowledge is, you all are familiar. Received can be through your hearing organs, or through your vision, through your tongue. That is how you receive. When you are testing something through your tongue, that you are receiving. When you are visualizing something, you are looking at something and you are receiving thereby. Likewise, when you are hearing something, you are receiving. Right? So that can be also, so that is another type of knowledge, received knowledge. Then subjective knowledge. Subjective knowledge, another type of knowledge, subjective knowledge. Now, it is different from tacit knowledge or like intuitive knowledge. Like subjective knowledge, we see there are also kind of subjectivity, or there is a much individual space there in that knowledge. That how do you look at an object, how do you look at a phenomenon, how do you look at a condition, that may not be same for the others. So that becomes subjective. So suppose there are 10 people looking at a particular like object. They can have their independent conclusion about the object. There can be 10 conclusions of that object or that phenomenon. That is subjective. That is subjective knowledge. Right? But then within that subjective, so if like there will be 10 conclusions of an object or of a phenomena or of a subject, then definitely that is not going to serve our purpose. There has to be some consensus. So within that subjectivity of 10 conclusions, we see commonness, some degree of commonness, some degree of agreement we see. आमे 10टी conclusion draw करिथिबा किंतु से 10टी conclusion संपूर्ण भाबरे भिन्न नुहे. से 10टी conclusion भितरे किछिटा सामंजस्य, some similarities are there, some sort of like consensus is there, and that consensus part is what? Subjective knowledge. So out of that 10 conclusion, we draw consensus there. That is what we call subjective knowledge. We come to an agreement, we come to a conclusion where actually those 10 people partly agree, partly like partly come to a conclusion or come to a consensus. That is what we call subjective knowledge. Then we have procedural knowledge. Procedural knowledge, how do you like pilot a plane? How do you pilot a helicopter? Subhashi, if you introduce a plane or helicopter, can you pilot it? We cannot. You cannot. It requires some like skills, some procedures to follow there. So it requires both procedures in terms of what? Motor mind coordination, both, like the knowledge that how to start a like plane to take off, or to how to flight flight or plane is what? Procedural knowledge, right? Likewise, how to solve a mathematical problem, which requires both addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and together. Now, if you have to solve a mathematical problem, you might have to make or apply the knowledge of what? Both addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. All of you have to apply procedural knowledge. Like you cannot skip addition. You cannot skip division to come to a conclusion. And if at all that is a requirement for that particular problem. So that is also a kind of procedural knowledge. As I cite an example of driving a car. Driving a car is also there we involve procedural knowledge. Both you have to know what are these mechanisms there in that cars and their functions, right? And at the same time you have to apply your body, so it requires both motor mind coordination. But then that is all procedural. It's not that all of a sudden you drive a car smoothly. No, that is again that is a procedural knowledge, right? Then we have constructed knowledge. Constructed knowledge. We have constructed knowledge. Like we have talked about explicit knowledge, tacit knowledge, then received knowledge, subjective knowledge. This all can be constructed knowledge. This all can be constructed knowledge. The knowledge you construct by virtue of your experience of the circumstances or of the okay. Okay, sorry. What I was telling, yes, constructed knowledge. Now, we have already talked about what is explicit, what is tacit, or like received, subjective, or procedural knowledge, right? So all this can be constructed knowledge. Now, when you receive, for example, when you receive, how it is a constructed knowledge? Receiving through, say for example, receiving through your by hearing, receiving through your hearing organs. You are receiving. Then how do you construct knowledge there? Receiving requires attention, concentration. Receiving requires memory, right? It's not that whatever you have received, it is just like computer, it is being recorded there in your mind. Simultaneously, you are like doing mental exercise there, right? You are analyzing that content that you are receiving, and you are drawing conclusion. Again, you are making analysis of whatever you are receiving. So that's a constant mental exercise. By hearing, you draw a conclusion. So that the very nature of making analysis, making meta-analysis, analysis of the analysis, then you are drawing a conclusion. That is how you are constructing knowledge. You are constructing. You are constantly engaged there in constructing knowledge out of your receiving sense organ, that is hearing. So your memory is working there, right? Your language is working there. Your ability to analysis of the whatever you have received from sources, ability to analysis, ability to draw conclusion, that matters in forming knowledge or in constructing knowledge, right? So that is how it is, that whatever, like in fact, like even in explicit knowledge, what do we say? Explicit when it becomes explicit, when it becomes clear. No, actually you have constructed that. You have constructed by your own, if not independently, by observing others, by following others. Right? Suppose, for example, let's say there is a in a mountain, wildfire has set on. You can see, you can visualize. You are visualizing. Then you are like you are reconstructing your like past experience. You are like associating that your vision, what you are looking at, what you are witnessing right at the right moment, that yes, fire has set on in mountain. You are associating that your experience with the past, and then you are drawing a conclusion that yes, that is wildfire. That is wildfire. Right? So that is like rest of things are all those are in fact constructed knowledge to my mind. But then here it is told that it views knowledge as contextual, relative, uncertain, and tentative, yet capable of making position choices and commitments to oneself. As contextual, relative, uncertain. So when you draw a conclusion that is wildfire, I have seen in past that that when wildfire set on in mountain, it looks like that. You are associating with the past experience, but there is no guarantee that actually wildfire. That might be something else. Probably that. So your conclusion becomes wrong. That can be something else. Like, okay, some people might have engaged there in cooking, or people might have engaged there in uh, like, how do you like, uh, cremating, um, say, a dead body or something like that. So that may not be a wild like natural fire as such, but that can be something else. So constructed knowledge in that sense can be contextual, relative, uncertain, tentative, relative, right? But then, like this earlier, the knowledge types of knowledge we have talked about, all like uh, have the characteristics of constructed knowledge, right? So you read that text, you'll be able to know in a better manner. I am taking much time in like explaining you or describing you, because we have many things left yet to cover. We have to be faster bit. Then modes of knowledge transfer. Knowledge transfer বিভিন্ন modes রয়েছে, তুমি তো জানুছ ভালো ভাবে ডিজিটাল মোড রয়েছে আজকালি, রয়েছে না নাই? এই মোডরে আমি যে now we are uh, engaged in a platform, in a digitized platform, or in a like electronic platform where knowledge is being transferred, like transfer. Like one is that is mode of knowledge transfer, like through electronic mode, migration of individual across the globe, right? How it is possible? You go to other place and you can transfer knowledge, whatever you know you can share with others, thereby people like come to know about you, about your knowledge, right? So whatever you have discovered, whatever you have like you actually you have a basis of knowledge, which when you migrate to other place, and in that place of destination, people might not be having that kind of knowledge, unique base of knowledge you have. You can share them easily, and that can be communicated to them, that can be shared to them, and that becomes knowledge for them. So that is what we call migration of individual across the globe. Also a like mode of transferring knowledge. Then reinterpretation of knowledge, that is also a kind of knowledge transfer is possible when we keep interpreting the form of knowledge that we draw different conclusions, right? Of a given text, given content. Like suppose 5 people are engaged there, 5 people might differ to some extent, but then 5 people come out with 2 set of knowledge, relatively 2 sets of knowledge possibilities there. So as a result, what interpretations matters in transferring knowledge. Then recorded devices help us to transfer knowledge, that all you know, like recorded devices, that is all, those are also means of transferring knowledge. Easy availability and use of ICT gadgets, that you understand better. Then coming to the forms of knowledge, earlier we talked about types of knowledge. like as many as 6 types of knowledge, mostly 5. Then we have forms of knowledge, types and forms again. Like forms, like the the ways of the ways of upholding sort of knowledge is what we call forms of knowledge, right? And it is so forms of knowledge can be of different types, themselves, but categorically there are two forms of knowledge, uh, right? Those are traditional forms of knowledge and modern forms of knowledge. Traditional forms like the oral forms of knowledge, that ଆମର ଯୋଉ ମାନେ ଯୋଉଟା ପରମ୍ପରାଗତ knowledge, ଯାହାକି ଆମେ ଶୁଣିକି ଜାଣିଥାଉ, ଆମେ ଯୋଉଟା କି ନିଜେ ବିନିଯୋଗ, after once we listen from others and apply in our life and we carry it on further, then what, that is all happening from generation to generation, but in a very traditional form, that is oral. We know from others, from after once we hear from them. It's not through reading the text or not through consulting the electronic gadgets today what we are doing. So that is what we call what, traditional form of knowledge, right? Like knowledge of medicine, knowledge of agriculture, knowledge of wildlife, knowledge of say knowledge about the weathers. So that we have a traditional forms of knowledge about that, right? Okay. That is. Then modern forms of knowledge, as I told you, which are very much organized in its nature. Organized in the sense, modern forms of knowledge. We have organized text with us. ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ଲେଖା ପଢୁଛୁ, ଜାଣି ଯାଉଛୁ, ଜାଣୁଛୁ ନା ନାଇଁ? Organized way ଅଛି knowledge, like knowledge about say for example river system. ଆମର ଓଡ଼ିଶାରେ କେତୋଟି river ଅଛି? ବଡ଼ 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 ନଦୀ କେତୋଟି ଅଛି? Geography, physical geography, that you have, ତମେ ସେଇଟା ପଢିଛ, elementary school ରେ ପଢି ଦେଇ ପାର କି secondary school ରେ ପଢି ଥାଇ ପାର. So that is what modern, that is given to you, introduced to you with the text, with a video, not only through like hearing. You are given with a map, physical map showing river flowing, river courses in different places. Rivers are flowing, so you are given with a map. Google Map today is very popular. You can see the flowing river, flowing rivulets. So that is what this is, organized through text, through digitized mode. We are getting knowledge. That is what we call modern forms of knowledge, right? Then we have ideology and curriculum. All of a sudden, like we see a jump here. Ideology and curriculum. Now, why not knowledge and curriculum? Ideology and curriculum. All of a sudden, we have been like introduced with the terms, loaded term ideology. Ideology, idea. From ideology, idea. So sorry, from idea we say ideology. Right? Let me without going to your text, I'll just try to clear here. Ideas and then ideology and then curriculum. Precisely, the curriculum is associated, or curriculum is felt, or curriculum is thought or planned, often guided by certain ideas, certain ideologies, isn't it? Suppose idea, as I was telling, ideas of like physical features of Odisha. Physical features of Odisha. Amara coast achi, like we have a long coast. We have like different rivers systems. We have different like weather condition, hot, humid in coast, extreme kind of weather in or climate in western, right? So this is what the features, physical features of Odisha. This is what the idea. This is what the knowledge about the physical features of Odisha as a mainland, as a land of this Indian subcontinent, right? This is what the that is what the knowledge there, or that is what the idea we have. Now, how to take it to the target groups, target population. Target groups means the students, those who are not those who are not familiar with that features, those features or that idea, right? Idea in concrete sense here, not in abstract sense, right? Idea about the physical features of Odisha. Idea about or knowledge about the physical features of or physical geography of Odisha. That there is a physical features, there are physical features, or there is idea, there is knowledge which are established, which are well captured. Now, how we are going to take to the target groups? What are the target groups here? The students, right? Students. So there it comes. Okay, idea and curriculum. So whatever we find, we have discovered as truth, whatever we have like we have a plan, or we have planned to materialize, right? That we give that as a form of idea, that we call, that is an idea in relative sense as well as in concrete sense. Idea in relative sense or in concrete sense, that is what we call, जोटा आमे देख पारुछु हमु जेमिति कहली कि हमरो ओके हमरो गोटे भौतिक अवस्था अछि ओडिसा रा, भौतिक अवस्थिति अछि आ सेटा आमे जानिछु किंतु आम छोट पिलाटा जानि, आमे ताकू से आइडियाटा आमे ताकू भी जणैबार अछि। करिकुलम, तो तो से आइडियाटा आम केमी जनइबा कौन से आम गोटे गोटे करिकुलम वी गिव द शेप ऑफ द करिकुलम एंड वी लाइक try to take that to the students, that person, individual student. That is a concrete idea. And relative idea that happens in like in a higher sense, relatively in a higher sense. For example, the idea of welfare state. Idea of welfare state. हमारा भारत वर्षटा कौन डेमोक्रेटिक country, we say democratic country, we say welfare state, isn't it? So we believe that yes, everybody in India, in a countries like India should get chance, should get opportunities to live a decent life, to live a happier life, to live a conflict-free life, to live a like peaceful life. That is what the idea. That is what the ideology. That yes, the idea of welfare state, the idea of what democratic state. That yes, we would expect, we would wish that everyone should get the opportunity, everyone should get the freedom to live a decent life, to live a happy life, to live a peaceful life, conflict-free life. So that is also idea. So that is how we materialize through curriculum. So there also, like unlike your physical geography, that is physical geography of Odisha, that is a concrete idea. You simply, that is what you call that is like explicit knowledge. What? Explicit knowledge. That physical geography is clearly explicit knowledge that you are going to introduce with the curriculum. What you intend, your intention is to give the knowledge about physical setup, physical geography of Odisha, and that you are doing through your curriculum. You have designed a curriculum which is actually giving clarity about what? Physical geography, concrete, that is concrete idea. But relative idea, relative ideology is what? Welfare state, democratic state. So that actually, again, which differs constructed knowledge, relative knowledge. Yes, I do convince with that how we are supposed to like convince our students, convince our people that we have to be democratic, we have to be welfare, to live a better life by all, if at all. So accordingly, we have to shape the curriculum. So our curriculum, like if we intend to like live a like democratic life, live a life where actually everyone like feels happy, everyone feels like doing well, respected, right? So that is what also a kind of idea that we are supposed to take it to our target groups through our curriculum. So our idea is democratic state, our idea is welfare state, and we manage to communicate that the like advantages of or the need and the advantages of the democratic state or welfare state, we communicate through our curriculum. So our curriculums in that sense is always guided by idea, is guided by ideology. It is supposed to be guided by idea or ideology. Otherwise, it becomes a wastage of time in the name of education, in the name of curriculum. Right? So that is what ideology and curriculum. They are in your unit 30. There we have, of course, like point like ideology as perspectives, ideology as false consciousness, ideology as perspectives like ideas. Suppose you are 11 here. You have perspectives of you have your own perspectives of what? Higher education. Say for example, higher education. You have your own understanding about higher education. That is idea. You have your own idea about higher education. Higher education ta kono, vyavastha ta kono higher education na re hoji, kono sambhavana achi. 11 of you can have your own perspectives, but we do agree somewhere. We have a very consensus points. We have like similar points, but then we have our own perspectives. Right? That is ideology as perspectives. Ideology as false consciousness. That is also ideology as false consciousness. What you think is you are correct. What you think is that you have constructed can be false, can be false for others. Suppose here the person has cited like false consciousness. For example, ideology as false consciousness. Here, like since it is a sociology of education, more of like social, they have cited example of Marx, Karl Marx. Karl Marx had an idea about society. No, he had a belief that in society we live two groups of people basically. One is like proletariat, and other one is bourgeois. That is otherwise what we call like
Capitalist.
one advantage group, and other one is disadvantage group. At a given point of time, always the very nature of existence of society, we have two group of people. One is advantage group and other one is disadvantage group. One is that advantage group actually exploit the disadvantage group, and that is where their disadvantage remain exploited. That was his belief. That was his understanding. That was his perspective, which eventually found to be false. So his consciousness, his understanding of the circumstances was actually false, found to be false. No, actually we do not have two groups. We have more than two. We have more than two. So that is what false consciousness. Right? Suppose we tell today like ideology as false consciousness. Here, of course, ideology is something that remain for long. That is why it becomes like ideology. Okay. Then ideology and hegemony. There is a terms ideology and hegemony. What is that? Ideology and hegemony. It is again. It is most like used or mostly uh, mostly seen in sociology. In sociology, in political science, ideology and hegemony. Hegemony. How hegemony means control, domination. Here, the sense is that how ideology manages to continue with uh, a trend, continue with a trend, continue with a kind of practice that is domination. Domination. For example, idea of the idea of like men and women in society, men and women in Indian society, for instance, there is always a kind of ideology, a kind of understanding that uh, like females are like females are supposed to take care of domestic affairs, even if males are ready to take care of domestic affairs, they are not, they are not found comfortable with that affairs, and therefore we create a condition that guided by that ideology, domestic affairs are to be taken care of by female. We uphold that kind of understanding, that ideology. If I am free also, I do not do domestic affairs. If my brothers, if my like other male members of my family are free, they can take care of like domestic affairs. They do not come forward and they do not show their interest because the females are there. That kind of mindset, that kind of ideology is there, right? So in that way we control, and we control what we control over the female groups, like male groups control over female groups in terms of like managing home affairs, and in terms of managing external affairs outside home, where actually like men they have to involve there, they are supposed to involve there, not by the female counterparts. So as a result, we see a kind of patriarchy society in India, where in society males dominate, male controls over the situation than the female. So that's the ideology actually. That's an ideology we are carrying forward. Nothing else. We can brag at any point of time. People brag that. But then that's a very common affairs, a common practices we have in Indian society, ideology and hegemony. We do have a belief that okay, right, let female should be there at home and take care of domestic affairs, and let male should go outside and okay. And it so happens because of also the like given circumstances. It's not that we like all the times to do so, because of the like it so happens because of like the needs and the demands of the circumstances, and then it takes the shape of ideology and hegemony. Okay, no problem. We have the idea. Okay, it's better that female should be there at home and male should go outside for doing external affairs. We feel better. Until now, we are like upholding that kind of idea and practice. That is what we call ideology and hegemony. Then we have, you will be, ଯଦି ପଢିବ ତାକୁ ଆଉ ଟିକେ ଭଲ ଭାବରେ ବୁଝିପାରିବ। ମୁଁ ତାକୁ ଟିକେ ବ୍ରିଫଲି ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କୁ ତାକୁ ପହଞ୍ଚାଇବା ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିଛି। Here, a point you should again we should clear that debunking or neutrality of schooling. Here, in a point, ideology and shaping curricula. Ideology and shaping curricula. हम आगुर हम जस्ट हम चिंता करते कि हमें जहाँ चाहूथुबा हमें ताको पाठ्यक्रम बा करिकुलम माध्यम रे हमें पहुंचवा पे चेष्टा करता। से भलिया केमिति माने हमर आइडियाटा हमें बा हमर इच्छाटा करिकुलम रे प्रकाशित हुए से विषय रे भी अनेक माने धारणा अछि, अनेक अनेक समालोचना अच्छी बा क्रिटिसिजम अच्छी। त्या भितर वाला गोटे डिबंकिंग न्यूट्रलिटी ऑफ स्कूलिंग। डिबंकिंग हियर लाइक like sociologist Prairie Bourdieu, you read him, Prairie Bourdieu, who tells that like whatever we feel, whatever we wish, that we simply give to our children through curriculum. Through curriculum, आमे जहाँ इच्छा करुछि, आमे जहाँ चाहूछि, ता आमे curriculum माध्यम रे दौछु, आमे दौछु as it is। तो से ताकू debunking neutrality होछन। से जो आमे आमे जेमितिया चाहूछि, आमे आमे गुटे गुटे छोटा पिलार माइंड को आमे सेमितिया कर दोछि। से पाठ्यक्रम माध्यम रे आमे से करिकुलम माध्यम रे पिलाटू सेमितिया कर दोछि। दैट इज स्कूलिंग। स्कूल कहले इट स्कूल अर्थ नुहे जे गोटे फिजिकल सेटअप, गोटे हाउस, गोटे फिजिकल हाउस आउ सेठी टीचर्स अछंती, पिला अछंती। स्कूल कहले केवल सेटा नुहे। स्कूल कहले माइंड को मध्ये आमे कहूछु स्कूल। आमे जोडे चाहूछु आमे सेई गोटे सेई आकार रे आमे जते माइंड को आमे गोटे रखि दोछु, सेई आकार दोछु। हमें जहाँ चाहूँ से आकार गोटे माइंड को दोछु। दैट itself is called school, right? So schooling the mind, shaping the mind, schooling the mind, shaping the mind. So how the way we wish, what we wish, when we take that, when you give that a shape of a mind, or when we shape the mind of a child accordingly, it is what we call schooling the mind. Schooling the mind. But Prairie Bourdieu was against of that kind of practice. आमे हम आइडिया अनुसार आमे माइंड को शेप देबा उचित नुहे। किछिटा आमे सेठी किछिटा स्कोप आमे रखिबा जा फल रे कि पिला से निजे कंस्ट्रक्ट करि परिबो। कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ नॉलेज कथा सेठी कहै छी, कंस्ट्रक्टेड नॉलेज हैला। तो बैंकिंग से डिबंकिंग कथा कहूछि। बैंकिंग एठी कहले बैंक सहित से कंटेक्स्ट है। बैंक रे कोन हुए, आमे जाऊ, आमे पैसा ड्रॉ करबा पे जाऊ किबा आमे पैसा डिपॉजिट करबा पे जाऊ। सो गिव एंड टेक affair. So school as a like a social organization. We should not do, we should not like engage in doing giving and taking practice. It becomes a kind of banking kind of practice ଯଦି ଆମେ ସେଠି give and take କଥା କେବଳ ଦେବା বা ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା, it becomes the school becomes a kind of schooling becomes a kind of bank kind of practice. So he was against of that kind of affairs, and that is why he like advocated for deschooling, or in a way like not to have that kind of practice. Deschooling is what that was proposed by Ivan Illich, but then debunking or debanking. Not, we should not have that kind of practice, that we should only whatever we should give children should take that much and should reproduce in their life. No, we should also keep space. We should also give like opportunity to the children so that they can construct their own knowledge in a given situation. They can consult their minds, and then they can like independently they can uh, they can uh, they can have their like mental exercise. They can construct their knowledge, right? So that is why he proposed debunking of schooling. Their medium of instruction, it is not something. Medium of instruction, there we are supposed to know and understand about medium of instruction. That doesn't mean here here it means language, but can be also the system, the organizational system, like school, colleges or university, medium of instruction. But here it means language as a medium of instruction, right? See, it is language as a social system, language acquisition and development, language and early childhood development, language and thinking, language deficit, language and discrimination, language planning. These are things. Language as a social system, medium of instruction. So how do we like transact our curriculum? We require a language. We require a language to take the text to the students, or to like make them familiar with the content of the curriculum. We make use of a language, and that language is not something like different to social. I mean, language we use in society. That is a system of society on. So the language we use generally in society, through that language only we transact the curriculum. সেটা ওড়িয়া হোক, হিন্দি হোক, ইংলিশ হোক, যা হোক. So that is a language is what? That is a system of society, and we make use of that system while transacting the curriculum. And that actually language determines the success in education or in school, in instruction. Right. Now, language, if a person is like good at language, good at one's own mother tongue, one's own original language, or one's own language of instruction, then there is a high possibility of, there is a high chances of high chance of success, high chance of like acquisition of knowledge, right? So again, the knowledge determines success in education, in transmission of knowledge, in construction of knowledge. Language plays a very important role in that sense. So that, and that is why language is given importance from the from the early age, from the early age of, of of a child, and there the knowledge development of knowledge is very fast comparatively, right? Of course, knowledge will enrich at the later stage, but so far as like the like communicative knowledge is concerned, the child develops like knowledge at a very faster pace or a very quicker pace at the early age, right? So this is what then knowledge, sorry, language and thinking. Language and thinking. What is the what kind of relationship is there? It is called. It is told that 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 as rich as your language, your your knowledge is also, your thinking is also that much rich. So the richness of thinking is the richness of language. ଆମର ଭାଷା ଯେତେ ସମୃଦ୍ଧ ଆମର ଚିନ୍ତାଧାରା ମଧ୍ୟ ସେତେ ସମୃଦ୍ଧ ହେବା ସ୍ୱାଭାବିକ. Vice versa. If we keep thinking, we keep strengthening our language. So it is always suggested to you that you keep thinking, you keep thinking means you are not in abstract. You are guided by all the times language. You are thinking with a language. You cannot think without language. Whenever you think, there is a language. So there is a very like live relationship with relationship between language and thinking. Lively relationship, one can say. Then we have language deficit. Of course, language deficit कहले भाषार अभाव जोटा राइट भाषार अभाव रहुछि कोठी मीडियम ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन रे भाषार अभाव रहुछि के भाषा रे समृद्ध तो के भाषा रे आमे कोन कहबा maybe poor, maybe deficit in language, right? So that is always there, that we cannot deny in medium of instruction or in a situation like school or schooling or like in a platform of instruction or platform of getting education. There we see language richness as well as language deficit. Language, bhasar abhav. So that is also, and that wherever there is a deficit of language, we see kind of a deficit in acquisition of knowledge, deficit in mental exercise, deficit in like in mental in academic achievement eventually. So what is clear is that our language determines success in academics, success in career. That is what the message here actually. Okay, language and discrimination. Language and discrimination. It is also there. Language is also a medium of discriminations. or means of discrimination. How it is, how it so happens? Yes, when uh, suppose you take example of a school like platform, where we have in school like Odisha, in a situation like Odisha, we have in like secondary public school, say for example secondary school, class 9, 10. There we have like Odia medium, English medium, Hindi medium. We have like third language also. Third language formula we follow. Mother tongue, second language, and third language. So it is found that like some people are weak to language. Weak in the sense some people like uh, follow the practice of favoritism of language. Now, those who do better in a particular language, they become favorite for that teacher. As a result, rest of them rest of them become neglected. So what? Your language become a kind of medium of medium of discrimination because of your like better language command, better language competency. You get appreciation. You get more scope than others, and others remain majority remains neglected there. So, what language here becomes a means of mediums of what discriminations. So that possibility is also there in school, in the platform of education, in the platform of medium of instruction. So this is what has been addressed here. Right. I'm not going more details. You read that, you'll come to know many more things. Mass media and education. Mass media and education. Yes. Now, your education becomes a product as well as process. Coming back to your the initial discussion. When it comes to mass media and education, mass media means becomes a means for knowledge, means for education. So here education is treated as product as well as process, but mostly education is treated as knowledge because mass media becomes a medium of knowledge transmitter, not knowledge generation mostly. Of course, we do generate once we consult with mass media. We generate knowledge, but in most of the cases, it so happened that it transmits knowledge more than generate knowledge. So if you try to understand it more in statistical manner, in majority of cases, mass media transmit knowledge than generate knowledge. But it does both of the work. It does both work. It transmits knowledge as well as it generates knowledge. So education become both product as well as process through a medium that is mass media. So mass media is a medium of, that is why it is media for knowledge, to taking knowledge to different to the target population in the form of knowledge, in the form of education, or in the form of process. Right. So it does the both work, transmission work as well as knowledge generation work. But most of the cases, it helps a lot in terms of transmitting knowledge, that is education, than generating knowledge or generating education, right? Okay, uh, I, I I may not be able to speak any more time because I'm feeling a little tired. So anyway, I hope that you have made some sense to my mind. Whatever I speak to you, you read, you consult your text, your print media as a medium of education, as a source of education, as a source of knowledge. You consult this text. Okay. Anyone would like to if and I'm be happy, I'll be happy if anyone would like to tell something or ask, have any questions in your mind or query in your mind. Yes, please come up, or else we will close the program.
So,
Yes.
in Unit 14, we have language as a social system. That I cannot understand, sir. So if you can explain later on, not now, if you can explain it tomorrow even, that would be
Yes, yes. Language as a social
social system.
system. Yes, that is a system. System. To whom we say system? Say, for example, uh, we have a system of like education. We have a system of education. What is that? We have a system of education of society. That is school, college, and university. These are the systems of education of society. All right. Likewise, language is also a system. Systems implies here, as in case of language, like we 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 have a like common impression, we have a common values, we have a common understanding of what we speak. Suppose if I say ma, if I say book, ଯଦି ମୁଁ କହେ ବହି, ବହି କହିଲେ କ'ଣ ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଟେ ଭାଷା, ବହି କହିଲେ ଗୋଟେ ଭାଷା, ଗୋଟେ ତାର ଅର୍ଥ ବି ଆସୁଛି। ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ କହୁଛୁ ଓକେ ମୁଁ ଯାଉଛି, ମୁଁ ଯାଉଛି, ତମେ ମାନେ ତାକୁ ତ ବୁଝୁନି କି ମୁଁ ହଁ ମୁଁ ଶୋଉଛି। So that I'm communicating, that's a system. So when I say mu jauchi, that you understand, I am going, that means I am going. Mu jauchi, you understand, that is not different to, it doesn't give a different meaning to 10 different people. They equally understand the same things. Yes, the person is going. So that is a system. That is a system. When it gives a equal sense, that gives a equal sense, that helps us in communication, that helps us in like in developing a relation, in communicating each other, in understanding each other. So that is why it is a system. It is a system. Primarily, it helps us in communication. It helps us in understanding each other, and it helps us in living together. And that is why it is a system. Right? You think tonight how it is a system. I'll give you the complete night. You think how it is a system. But I hope I have made some sense to you with these few words. Madhava?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. So, should we close today's program here? Today's discussion or
Yes, sir.
deliberation?
Sir, more technical unit was there, that ideology and curriculum. So you really well explained this topic, and I'm
Okay.
really highly satisfied with it.
Actually,
Thank you so much, sir.
yeah, but I need actually a single class, minimum 1 hour for that ideology and curriculum to explain better or to describe better on particularly on that subject matter. But I hope you'll be convincing yourself once you go through the text. You'll be convincing more. Okay, and read more other like readings. Consult many other readings available online for better understanding. So thank you very much for bearing with me, for be with me on this platform. We'll be meeting again tomorrow, same time.
Sir.
Oh, sir, Sitaram sir.
Good night to all of you.
Good night, sir. Thank you for.
Actually, କହିବାକୁ କହୁଥିଲି ସାତଟା ପୁରା 9ଟା ଯାଏ ପୁରା ରାଇଟ୍ ଟାଇମ୍ ରହିଲେ ବେଟର, କାହିଁକି ନା ମତେ କଣ ହଉଛି ଏ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ ଲାଷ୍ଟ ଟାଇମ୍ କହିଲେ 9ଟାରୁ 9:30 କରିଦଉଥିଲେ ପୁରା, ହେଲେ ମତେ ଜଗିବାକୁ ପଡୁଥିଲା କେତେବେଳେ ବନ୍ଦ କରି ରେକର୍ଡିଂ ଟା ଯଦି ଆମେ ବନ୍ଦ ନ କରିବା ଏଟା ରାତି ସାରା ଏମିତି ଚାଲିଥିବ।
Sir. So
thank you, sir.
Thank you,
for
sir.
right time you have completed the schedule.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you, learners.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.